Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Gilbert Burns and Khamzat Chimaev. But before we jump into that, if you enjoy the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, UFC 273, we have a big fight coming up here on the main card. Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat Chimaev. This is a good one, man. This is the fight that we've been looking forward to. Chimaev's been coming out for a long time saying how avoided he is. All kinds of guys that he says don't want to fight him. Talks about how he's going to run through everybody. I'm going to hold the belt at 170. I'm going to hold it at 185. Nobody can stop me. I'm going to beat Usman. I'm going to beat Israel Adesanya, right? Just going out here and just naming all the names, running through people talking about traveling over to Ireland to try to catch Conor McGregor in real life outside of the octagon and smash him. Just all kinds of things we've been hearing from this guy. On top of that, we've been seeing the work he's been doing. I mean, look, he's only been in the UFC for 4 fights, right? Debuted for us over on Fight Island. Comes out in just incredibly impressive fashion. First 2 fights inside of 10 days. Both incredibly dominant wins. Both of them shows us what his bread and butter is. 6-time Swedish gold medal wrestling champion. And that is exactly the type of credentials that we see when he comes out. He comes out there and just absolutely dominates people with the wrestling. Incredibly aggressive. Incredibly quick, smooth. Technique is there. Once he gets guys down, just has that smothering, just don't know what to do type of wrestling, right? Understands all the techniques, knows how to keep his chest heavy on guys, understands how to come in and control the leg, knows how to work that Dagestani handcuff, right? That's where he'll reach around the guy when he tries to post up and he'll grab the wrist. We've seen him do it in multiple fights against multiple opponents. Really, really impressive. Really shows understanding of control. Really shows a way that he wants to go in there and work his position and get into the right spot before he starts to do his damage. Whether that's the ground and pound, landing those heavy shots, whether that's working his way to the opponent's back before he's sinking in some kind of a choke. I mean, the guy's nasty with what he does. He's heavy on you. He keeps his hips above your hips, so when guys try to scramble and move, he's always there. Able to stay in that top position and continue to work. Now, look, we saw him come out in 2 fights, go right for the takedown, get it, slam guys down, and start to do good work. Then we saw him come out against Mearshot, comes out, says, I don't even need the takedown this time. I'm just going to land this incredibly beastie right hand and drop this dude and get the work done that way. But it's this last fight. It was his last fight against Li Jingliang that I thought was particularly impressive. Comes out there and, like we expect, goes for this takedown immediately. Gets in deep on that double, spins around. Now that we'll call like the first move, the way he shot in there and got that double, got his hands locked around the body. Great stuff, but Li Jingliang is defending, right? He's got the whizzer on one side, he's pressing, he's pushing on Chimaev's face on the other. So he's defending well at that point. And that's where Chimaev makes his next move. Slips underneath Lee's left arm, gets his back, and from there he's able to pick him up, dump him, and begins his work on the round, right? Starts to control the legs, goes to the handcuffs, starts to control them there, land the shots. But it's that second move, it's that chain wrestling. He came in there for that first one, and it was defended well. He didn't give up. He didn't break and go for something else. He didn't let go and then wait for another opportunity and try to reset. He immediately worked into that next move, easily got to the back, and from there he went with the pickup and the slam. Man, his wrestling is so good. And he's strong. He's big for the division, so he's a handful to deal with, man. And then we've seen the power. We saw the power outside of the UFC, and then we saw that, in his third fight against Mearshot, we saw that right hand that he landed. Now, look, even though he has the power, his striking isn't there. His striking isn't at the level that it needs to be at. His striking isn't even close to being amongst the best in the division or being anywhere near equivalent to the wrestling he has, because the wrestling is so dominant. Right? The wrestling is on a whole nother level. But the striking has not been able to keep up. He's just kind of, he's bringing it along. He's getting used to it. He's got world-class training partners. Been out there with all-stars, with Gustafsson, Yer Latifi, and a whole bunch of other guys. Right? We've seen him put in the work. We see him now going over to Thailand, and he's working the mitts, and he's training hard for this camp and everything. And I get that. I understand it 100%. I'm quite sure that given enough time, he's going to be able to bring it up to a very respectable level. But he's not there yet, particularly when it comes to defense. That's my guess. We haven't seen it yet. We've seen nobody press him there, but it's easier to pick up offense than defense. We can see that his offense is a little rusty, right? And that's not exactly there yet. Is the guy even going to come out and throw any kicks, or is it just going to be all punches because he wants to be able to maintain his balance because he's so focused on being able to work in on that takedown? But either way, offense is easier to get than defense. I imagine his defense is suspect. We've just seen nobody be able to press him yet. Now, is that somebody going to be Gilbert Burns? Maybe it is, right? Gilbert Burns. What is it when you think of him? World-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Also a guy who came to striking a little bit later. Still competes at the absolute apex of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world. Actively competing in it while he's competing in MMA, right? So he didn't turn his back on it like a lot of guys and use it as his base. It's still there, still his bread and butter, still what he loves. And you can see that he's good on the ground with it, man. He's got a very dangerous guard. Guy like Usman didn't even want to get on the ground, didn't even want to go down and engage with him on the ground when he had him down there. We always see Usman get down in somebody's guard, work that ground and pound, not worried about it at all. Didn't do that with Burns. He knows the type of BJJ that Burns brings to the table because they used to be sparring partners. They used to train together. He knows what's up with that. Didn't want any part of it. So, starts out with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, comes over to the striking later. And his striking has started to progress. His striking is getting better. We've seen him do some really good work in it, right? The kicks particularly. I love those kicks. Think about those low kicks that he was landing against Kuchenko, against Woodley, against Usman. Those are damaging. They're hard. He lets them out there fast. Guys really don't have an answer for him, particularly if he starts going to the calf with them. Those are hard to deal with. We saw the power in the right hand. We've seen him go out there and catch guys with it and hurt them. Saw it against Usman even, right? Had the champ hurt in the first round, hit him with a few of those right hands. We see how explosive he is. We see how physically strong he is. He's able to get in there on the clinch with guys, and he's able to maintain and work with them. We've seen some of his takedowns, like against Stephen Thompson, a guy who's notoriously hard to take down. So when you think about Gilbert Burns from that perspective, he's a guy who's got it all. He's a guy who's got every tool in the bag. They may not all be world class. They may not all be at the absolute elite level, but they are all there. No, like real, true weak points in that sense. But is that going to be enough to deal with Chimaev? Right? Chimaev is a specialist in wrestling. Gilbert Burns is a specialist in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but he's rounded out his game better. He's had more time to develop it, right? He's 35 years old. Now, what's it going to look like when these two step in the octagon with each other? Right? That's the real question. Chimaev is a big favorite in this one. But this is the fight where I think he gets tested. This is the fight where I think he has to show us that he's got that next level, to show us that he's got that gear. And it makes sense because this is the fight where he's really, truly stepping up the level of competition. Gilbert Burns has challenged for a title recently. He's been in there with some of the best, including the champ. So this is the real big step-up fight for Chimaev. His striking isn't there. When this fight starts out, Gilbert Burns is going to be able to land a few shots, in my opinion. If it was up to me and I was the one who was telling him what to do, I would tell him to go for those kicks. I'd tell him attack that front leg, particularly attack that calf. Try and work it hard. If you can hurt it a little bit, if you can get even the slightest bit of hesitation in his shot, it's going to help you out a lot because Chimaev's going to shoot. He's going to shoot early. His technique's going to be there. I don't know if Gilbert Burns is going to be able to stop that shot. He'll probably be able to defend it a little bit here and there. Maybe particularly early before Chimaev starts to try to go to the second and third move, right? Chain those wrestling techniques together. But I'd be willing to bet that Chimaev is going to score at least one takedown. And he's going to be nasty to deal with because of the way he just understands position so well, and he's heavy and he's strong. But look, Gilbert Burns is strong too, man. He is physically strong for the division. World-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he understands grappling and position and everything well. I don't think he's going to get taken down and held down. He might get taken down, get held down for a little bit, absorb a little bit of ground and pound, but I think he'll be the guy who's able to get back up. He gets taken down, I think he'll be able to get back up. So if he's able to land some shots early, if he's able to work some kicks on that leg, maybe he's able to land a right hand, put a little bit of doubt in Chimaev's mind. If he's then able to get up from the takedown within, 60 seconds, gets taken down and gets up 60 seconds later. Something where Chimaev has a little bit of doubt in his head. He's like, I've been able to hold everybody down easily. This guy got up a little bit better, hit me with a few shots. My leg's starting to hurt a little bit. That's going to be the beginning of how he's able to win this fight. It's going to be tough, man, because Chimaev, his confidence is sky high, absolutely through the roof with the way he's been able to dominate people, with the people that he's trained with, so he feels like he understands what it takes to succeed at the highest level. Like, I get all that, man. And you got to go in there and you got to deal with that if you're Gilbert Burns. And that dude is a monster. Now, look, Gilbert Burns has the tools to be able to deal with it on paper. But fights don't happen on paper, right? Fights happen in real life. And I think Chimaev gets the win in this one. I think he finds a way to dig deep. I think he gets caught with some shots. He gets tested on the feet. I think we see him, who knows, maybe we see him get a tough, like I said, maybe we see him get a takedown stuffed. We see Gilbert Burns get back up. We see him get pushed. We definitely don't see this one end in the first round. I think this one is likely going to go to a decision. It's going to get stretched out there. And that's another thing, let me say. If this was a 5-round fight, because Burns has 5-round experience, I believe Burns definitely has not only the experience level of competition, but the experience level of being able to dig deep. The experience level of being able to face adversity and get through it under the bright lights. Going for a 5-round fight and the cardio that comes with that. That would all lean towards Burns, but this is only a 3-round fight. That's going to help Chimaev. I won't say it leans towards him, but it's going to help it. Particularly, you know how it is with the scoring, man. You go out there, he gets that takedown, and he's able to hold him down for a little bit. Judges love that. You got 1 round in the bag and puts the pressure on the other guy. So I think all of that is going to facilitate Chimaev getting the win, right? Doesn't necessarily make it easier for him, but it definitely makes it easier versus a 5-round fight. So I think, Khamzat Chimaev is able to come out with the victory in this one, but I do think Burns is able to expose a few chinks in the armor. Thinks it makes it a little bit more desirable for some other people. I think maybe the chinks that get exposed and the way he looks will calm down the talk a little bit of fighting Usman. Right? Let him know that maybe he's got to rack up 1 or 2 more wins before he's able to step in there with the champ. But let me know what you guys think. Is the hype too much? Is Burns going to be able to derail that hype train? Is Chimaev going to come out and just absolutely dominate him? And we're sitting there, we're starting to question, like, who's even going to give this guy a challenge? Who's even going to be able to do anything with this man? Is he going to have to move up to 205 before anybody's able to stop him? Like, let me know what you guys think.